Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be teaching you what is CTR. So let's jump right in. So first off, what does CTR stand for? CTR stands for click-through rate. Now, what does click-through rate mean? Click-through rate is a metric that measures the number of clicks as a percentage of impressions. Or to put it a little bit more simply, out of everyone who saw your ad, what percentage of those people actually clicked on it? Now, how do we calculate CTR or click-through rate? So, click-through rate is calculated by dividing total clicks over total impressions. So, for example, if my ad received 1,000 impressions, so 1,000 people saw my ad, and we got 50 clicks from that ad. To find my click-through rate, we just divide 50 clicks divided by 1,000 impressions for 0.05 or 5% click-through rate. Now, what's considered a good click-through rate? Well, it depends. Usually you want as high of a click-through rate as possible though. Here you can see a graphic of a few different industries and the Google AdWords industry benchmarks for the average click-through rate. So for example, we could see here that dating and personal ads seem to have the highest click-through rate of about 3.4% on average, while it seems like maybe one of these legal ads have the smallest click-through rate or the lowest click-through rate of about 1.35. And all of this is for Google AdWords, Google search specifically. So we can see here a few different benchmarks that you can take into account. So for Google search, the average click-through rate is about 1.91%. On display, it's about 0.35%. For shopping, it's about 0.86%. And on Facebook, it's about an 0.89%. And obviously this depends, on the industry that you're in, on the product that you're selling, and a whole lot of other factors such as the ad itself that you're running, the creative that you're using, if you're using Facebook or display or maybe even shopping. But yeah, just something to keep in mind that it's completely subjective and it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. To get a good click-through rate, essentially you just need to make sure that you're bidding on relevant and affordable keywords and audiences. A high click-through rate on an irrelevant audience or an irrelevant keyword is really just going to make you burn through your budget faster than you can anticipate. Now, how can we improve our click-through rate? So there's a few different ways we can improve it. First off, targeting. We want to make sure that we're bidding on keywords or audiences that we already know are relevant, right? So we need to make sure that we are targeting the correct and the right keywords or audiences, not just any keyword or audience that can get clicks. Ad copy and creative. So we want to be testing a bunch of different ad copy and creative variations and expand on the ones that we see are working best, right? So make sure that you're writing compelling ad copy and that you're using eye-catching creative. And then the last thing is ad types. Again, you want to be testing a bunch of different ad types. If you're on Google, maybe test responsive search ads. If you're on Facebook, maybe try carousels, all that kind of stuff. But there's so many options we can use, and we really want to make sure that we're testing as many different things as possible. If you're on Google or Bing, you can also even try adding some extensions, such as site links or structured snippets. I've personally found that these really help increase my click-through rates. Now, another thing to keep in mind with ad types is if we go back to this slide, we can actually see that even though the legal ads have the lowest click-through rate for Google search, they don't have the lowest click-through rate for the Google display network. So maybe that's something we would want to test, right? If we aren't seeing a good click-through rate on our legal ads on search, maybe we should pivot to try and use the Google display network as well. Or potentially we could even try Facebook. Another thing to keep in mind is that you don't always want to be focusing on getting the highest click-through rate possible. The reason we see a higher average click-through rate on Google search, for example, is because Google search is typically intent-based, meaning that people are actively searching for our product or services. On Facebook or the Google display network, however, we're typically looking to build awareness, so it's much harder to achieve a high click-through rate. At the end of the day though, it all depends on the industry that we're in and what we're trying to achieve with our ad. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you guys learned something new today. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. Check out my other videos, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy!